Day. That means it's House Tours Day, and today we're going to do something a little extra for, well, I know we're already into November. We did have Carbine's stream yesterday evening showcasing the winners of the Jack Shades House of Haunts competition, both for NA and EU. And not to diss those that took us through those plots and them showing the screenshots that the players submitted and everything. I wanted to take a closer look at the winners for the EU side, especially since last week we did the spooky tours, and none of those that actually won were part of that. In part due to I know of at least one that was closed uh, to public viewing until after the competition was done because they were concerned about folks coming and stealing their ideas and such. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to go through the three winners of the EU side for the House of Haunts competition for this year. Before we get started on that, though, I want to just say a few words. First, an announcement, just a reminder, basically, that we do have maintenance incoming today. It's going to be a bit of a long one. It's due to be down for about 4 hours and then some. So just be aware of that. It starts at 4 a.m. PDT, noon CET time, because remember, parts of, I don't know if it's all of Europe, but at least in my neck of the woods, the time has already changed. So instead of 1 p.m., it's noon for us, until the rest of the places catch up with us, I guess. But I don't know what all's going in today. I want to say they said today was when the cross-faction stuff was going to come out, and the next week is the Red Moon Terror, the final bit of that. But I'm not for positive. I'm sure they will be posting up some patch notes and everything for us to peruse through. And of course, if there's anything specifically housing related, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But at least be aware that we do have maintenance incoming. But since we're showcasing the winners of the competition, I did want to say I was there last night during the live stream from WildStar itself. And one of the running themes I saw in the chat was that a lot of people were kind of confused and disappointed as to how the rules for the competition itself was handled, because at the end of the show they did spotlight an honorable mention and said that the reason that they didn't win, or that they weren't considered for a possible win place, was because they hadn't provided their region, I think it was, among other things. I think they said there was some other stuff that was also missing. And there was a lot of fuss from some of the players saying that Carbine wasn't clear. There wasn't like in the news blurb that they had on their website page. It said, like, just submit 3 screenshots and you're good to go. But it was on the forums that they posted this like extensive, like, fine line wording of all of the rules and regulations pertaining to each region. And while I can sympathize with those that just assume that whatever's on the news page is all the information they need, it's prudent, if you're going to be entering a competition, to seek out all the information you can. And obviously, the official forums would be a place to check. And since there's even 2 separate threads for NA and EU, it's again very prudent to check out whichever one applies to you. If you're in the region of EU, you wouldn't look at the NA rules. So While I sympathize with those that might have been disqualified due to one reason or another, I can't stress enough that if you plan on entering any of these competitions, be it the pumpkin carving, unhousing competition, um, a costume competition that they might have, whatever it might be, always seek out all the information you can. If you're not sure, ask for clarification. Because I'm sure someone out there will be able to point you to the right stuff. Yes, I think Carbine could have been a little bit more helpful in linking those rules threads in the main news article. But again, for me, when I do this kind of stuff, if I enter some kind of competition, I'm not going to just go on the little news blurb. I'm going to hunt down because I always know that there's going to be some fine line writing like, what you have to have in the subject line of the email and what information you need to provide. Because obviously, if they're going to be checking out your plot, they need to know what region, what, faction, the name of the owner of the plot, that kind of stuff. So, while some of it might be common sense, it's just always good to check. So be sure and do that. And the reason I mention that is while they haven't said that they are actually going to have a competition for Winterfest, there's always that possibility. So not only do you want to make sure you check all the rules for that, but if you're even even partly thinking about building a winter plot, get started now. Don't wait until they announce because usually they don't give you much time. And I realize a lot of the builders out there require, sometimes months of time for gathering, collecting decor, even planning can take a great deal of time. So don't wait until there's a possible competition going. Just go ahead and get started on it. I know there's at least a few that have already begun, if not already had something from last year to kind of start with and are remodeling. If you think that there's even the inkling of possibility that they might have a competition for a Winterfest housing thing, then and you think you might want to join in, don't wait until they announce it. Just go ahead and get started. Yes, they might throw in a little bit of an extra rule, but that's something you could at least hopefully adjust to. Like with this year's Shades Eve one, they kind of threw in that thing about no copyrighted, um, uh, trademarked materials. So while last year's one of the winners was like The Nightmare Before Christmas, that wouldn't have been eligible this year. So keep that in mind. Think ahead, plan accordingly, get started early, and of course, once the competition, if it comes, is announced, make sure you find all of the rules pertaining to that competition and make sure you follow it to the T so that you don't get disqualified for some little simple missing piece of info or something. I was glad to see that while there was a discrepancy between the announcement saying that you only needed to submit 3 screenshots and in the rules it actually said 5, I was glad to see that they didn't disqualify anyone on that point because that was just their mistake in leaving, having the discrepancy between the amount of screenshots permitted. Hopefully they get that sorted, but I think it's just a case of they do a copy paste, they don't really read it through themselves and update it to whatever they need to. So that's on them. But thankfully, they didn't penalize anyone for that specific part. But the rest, for sure, check it out. So, first, good morning to Poi, Faye, Bones, anyone else that happens to be online at the time. I appreciate you guys joining me. I know we kind of got started a little bit early, but I'm awake. I'm feeling relatively okay. The migraine is still there, um, but I took some medicines, and it's kind of what it is it's like a sinus headache. So my sinuses have been troubling me for like a week now or more, and it just is a constant thing. So while I'm feeling decent, I thought I'd better go ahead and get started. Plus, I knew I wanted to blab on and on about that other junk, but So, like I said, yesterday evening, um, they showcased both NA and EU winners. I was happy to see that. Disappointed that in the news thread that they later put up, that it didn't include all of the plots that had actually submitted um, their plots for consideration. I was hoping that they would do that so that maybe we could take a look at all of those too, but maybe they didn't want to have too much argument as to, what we felt should have won or not won and all that, because there was already kind of that discussion anyway in the chat um, amongst the winners that were listed. So yeah, so what we're going to do is we're just going to focus on EU. That's kind of my stomping ground. So um, it's nothing personal in A, but I kind of prefer to stay on our side of the pond for the better part. I know I toured one of NA's partially uh, earlier, but that was mostly because we were already there for the monster showcase, so it was just kind of convenient. But today we're just going to stick with our usual groupings of EU, and we're starting on Dominion side. This is Noonie Starborn's plot. For those of you that were there for the tour with KDM and Jonathan, then you will recognize it. This actually had been on my list for last week's tour, but right before we were scheduled to do our spooky tours, Noonie closed it because they wanted to work a little bit more on it and they didn't want anyone kind of stealing their idea. So I'm happy to see that all of the winners have left their plots open so that we can take a closer look. And from what I understand, Nooney's going to leave this one open indefinitely. So if you can't get to it anytime soon, no rush. It should be here. And good morning, Cheeky. Glad you could join us. So right off the bat, we've got the landing pad encased in obsidian stone, and of course they've kind of made it like a cave entrance. You've got a lot of the cave shrooms stuck on the walls. Um, they're giving you some hints that there's some danger ahead, and of course, with all the shady plots, there's a lot of use of the gourds, the pumpkins, the cobwebs. A lot of Draken decor is used because it's got a lot of skulls and horn parts, and of course, all of the eggs. This here is one of the new spider NPCs. I don't know how easily it is to get. I think it's from the Madame Faye collection. I don't really do too much of the gambling, and I'm not sure if that little ghosty bit comes with it or if that's one of those haunted pieces that's just kind of hidden back there. Can't really tell. It looks a little weird that the ghosty part would be like under the spider's butt, but I suspect it's one of the haunted decor, either the top hat one or the angel head, and it's just being used for some added spookiness to the spider webs. I did notice too in the forums there were folks talking about how much of a pain it was to try and collect some of these spider webs, specifically the not the droopy ones, the long ones and the star shaped, because they're kind of a rare drop. Um, when it comes to stuff like this, very specific, hard to obtain decor, if I have any kind of an inkling that I might want to use those one day, whether it be for a special holiday plot or whatever, I just year round I'm looking for good deals. Obviously, the closer you get to that season, the more expensive they're going to become because people aren't stupid. They're going to get what money they can. If it's in high demand, they're going to raise the prices and seek out, the best amount of money for their wares or whatever. But um, so if you think you might be around next year, and have any kind of hope of being prepared, now's the time to start buying those things. Make sure you check regularly. I have an actual auction house list of things that I regularly check for, be it the mythical creature hats, cobwebs, a lot of the Winterfest stuff that maybe don't want to, uh, that maybe can be used for other than Winterfest, like the Winterfest fences. Um, some of the stockings that could be used for just like regular clothes laying around, that kind of stuff. So I have an ongoing list that I modify regularly, updating it with things that I feel like I want at some point. And I just year round, I'm constantly day to day checking, because you never know when you're going to find some nice deals. It's kind of how it was with the massive umbrella tree. Um, for the longest, I kept that on my list. I don't have it on there anymore, but that's how you get a hold of those nice deals where you get a tree that's usually going for like 2 plat for like 5 gold, because someone's gonna post it up cheap at some point. So just be mindful of that. If you're looking for cobwebs for next year, um, continue to shop for that. Don't wait until next year to start looking. Do that now and from there on. Of course, the Hoogles have those nice little haunted eyeballs, the flashing, scary light eyes. There's some here on the arch of the stone doorway. Those are always fun. I like trying to find other, alternative uses for them. This here, the noose, is another one of those items that's pretty rare, hard to get a hold of when you want it. I think it's called the Hangman's Noose. Um, I've actually got a couple of them myself, and I think that's over a period of however long we've been playing. That's the only two I've found for relatively cheap. And that's just because it's such a rare item. So if you get a hold of it, what becomes the problem with these rare things is then you're kind of worried, okay, if I put it on this character, then it's stuck there, and maybe you don't want to use it this time, and next time you do. But yeah, so if you happen to see that one on the AH at a relatively decent price, grab it while you can. Let me know if it's too dark. I know that there was some fussing yesterday evening with those that were doing the live tour. It got a little dark in some places, and they were talking about doing the gamma stuff. So if it's a little dark for you and you can't see, let me know. Right now, to me, it looks okay. So we're going to leave it as is. But if it gets too dark for you, let me know and I will switch it. So one of the first things they showed for Nooney's plot was the like haunted carousel. Now you'll notice I'm not doing the first person view. I can't stand that. It's not it's not anything against those that use it, but I feel like you see so much more when you're zoomed out. If I want to zoom in for a specific detail, I'll do that, but I prefer to stay out so you can see more. You can actually get a feel for the size and scale of things much better than if you got first person view. So no offense to those that use that for the purpose of their tours, but especially with the short character like the Chua, when you're going through the grounds and they have their clutter going, all you see are plants in your face. So, oh, okay, Cheeky. Well, sorry to hear that, but understandable. Um, I'm not sure which ones I might have on the list of yours. So, but yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you for letting me know. But you can see for the carousel, they've used both the Draken statue and the Dark WildStar statue as part of their, you would hop on it. Notice they don't have any poles, which I feel like it's missing, but, and then they're using the Gothic pillar for the centerpiece. And then, of course, they have a lot of the hanging lanterns, the party lanterns. Notice they gave some extra lighting, that red lighting, by inserting one of these red lanterns in here. Personally, I probably would have hid the handle of it just inside the pillar, but it does make it a little bit more difficult to grab it if you wanted to decide to move it. Oh, Alora's place. Okay, let me write that down. I'm bound to forget. I'm really bad about that. Well, then I'll bump that one up. We might get started on that next week then. I think we'll probably start back on Exile side for the regular tours. Excuse me. Thank you for letting me know, though. That is a great place. It's sad that you're not going to finish it. Okay, so of course over here was the little market that they put up. And it's basically haunted wares. You've got plushies and weaponry, and even the candy buckets. You've got the practice area over here. Again, fun uses of these particular hollowed out trees, even though it's like the haunted version. I like how they use it as the fortune teller's booth. You've got the frost skull behaving as the crystal ball because it's got that nice animation that comes with it, and so it saves you the trouble of trying to add that to a regular ball. I think a lot of people prefer the file, the tall file for that because it's more round. But they did a pretty good job of kind of sneaking that in there, even though it's the frost skull. Over here you have the more official graveyard, even though there's some ghosties occupying some of the places, but this is where they're showcasing all of those lovely gravestones that we've gotten. Some are the old ones, some are the newer ones. Here again, folks playing with the grave having been freshly dug. We got the spade available, some of the Arctera bones, and of course the oh, what's it called? Chumbacambra skull, I think it is. And again, a few apparitions haunting the cemetery. I don't want to forget over here. They've got the docks. A fun use of the lights. I didn't really use any of the string lights, I don't think, this year. But I like the idea of this one being used for the little dock here. And of course, you have the red moon tentacle pieces being used for the octopus here, or the swamp creature, or the, I don't know what you call it. And then someone's apparently trying to catch him by luring him with some intestinal bait. Notice again, they're using that red lantern for some backlighting on it to kind of make it look creepier than it actually is. I like the little boat being handled by it. Like somebody had a bad day, bad fishing day. And of course, the gaping maw, I think that's the disgusting maw decor. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Is that his tongue or something gone in there? And of course, they did show you go inside, then you're inside the stomach. It's basically a lot of the pulsating egg sacs, the strain eggs. There's probably any of the pulsing, moving, animated ones. There's the heart thing. There's the floor of it, I think, is one of the bubbling cauldrons, either the Skeech or the Witch's Brew. I don't have my sound up, so I'm sure it's pretty loud, but you can see it's pretty disgusting. It's a clever use of the space. So many of us have trouble figuring out, okay, what are we going to use, the bunker for? And of course, it's great use of the bones, that it's digested uh, peoples or things that have wandered into that gaping maw. Oops. But it's a fun idea. I think it's one way to kind of take care of that. But I like the boat up in there. There's even the person. They're also been snagged. And of course, the water is just lots of winding rivers. You can see there's a little bit of gap here. It's not perfect, but they did their best with what we have, the tools that we have available. Here's another good shot of it. Tentacled monster. I don't know, is that a kraken kind of thing? Or I don't know. I always thought the kraken was like a walking two-legged thing, but then later it was talked about in another movie and it was like an octopus like kind of thing. So I don't know what it's really supposed to be. Some kind of sea monster, I guess. Just kind of wandering through. Again, the fab kits, most of the faves are the haunted house fab kit, which comes from the cash shop. The webbed wood, which has the giant spider. It really went crazy with the smoke and flames in here. There's the hedges, the ones with either the maze or the small hedge. That's also faves. Creepy cave one that has the expedition in it. There's the graveyard fab kit, which is also a fave. So there's the fiery woods. I don't know why it's supposed to be on fire. Maybe they're burning out the spiders or something. Then you have this completely obsidian full of caves and like mountainous area. It's not only the trim for the rivers and things, but also the landscaping. A lot of that is it's like all obsidian. So here they have a gator, which I'm not sure if this is, I think this is the carcass one, the corpse, because the one that is actually the rug has that sword through his head, I think. But notice they made him even creepier by inserting the frost skulls into his eyes to make him look a little bit more sinister. Again, playing around with those effects type of decor, you can come up with some pretty fun combinations and ideas. A nice little pool using the granite seats occasionally so you can sit. Again, I have a lot of those, but I tend not to use them too much because I just don't like that green glow when they get hovered over. Just a personal thing, I guess. And this is that one that's the pulsating. It's the same thing I used for the mouse meatloaf. Again, the animation is really slow and somewhat subtle, but if you watch it long enough, you'll see that it's actually moving. It's just kind of breathing. I don't know how better to describe it, but it's pretty gross. Again, lots of trees for the woods. I don't think this part is particularly spooky. It's just a house, but we'll go ahead and tour it too. Got a little bit of a pumpkin patch back here. Some of this I don't exactly remember from the stream from last night because I kept having mine, it kept buffering. So it'd like stop and then it'd get started again and it'd stop. And I feel like I was constantly missing some stuff. So here's the kitchen. Again, one of our favorite building blocks, the travel poster being used for the countertop and cabinetry. Just insetting the regular kitchen sink in there and then overlaying the travel poster so it looks all nice and matchy. The cutting board for the chicken, again, is just the cheese board, but it's flipped over so you don't see the cheese. And I believe this is to behave as the refrigerator. That's the Dominion version of the CryoPod. Bar area. Looks like the small dining room. I like how they have a lot of glass. I think I tend to leave out windows because they're such a pain to try and incorporate into the build. Because your windows usually, it requires more pieces. Get it up there. There's a little upstairs bedroom. Notice how they tried their best to put in a bit of, I don't know, roofing there. I guess they've had to patch in a lot of 2x4s just to make that. Just shows you we need more building blocks of various shapes, kind of make it easier. Here's the simple bathroom. Another little bedroom. I presume the upstairs one is probably for the kids, and this is like the master one for the adults. One thing you don't want to miss is the little creepy hand coming out from under the floorboard. They just have it's a 2x4, and I don't know what they're using for the dark part. It could be books. It could be. It looks to me like books. I can kind of see the spines, but you could probably use the maintenance platforms. The travel posters are pretty dark, but I like the idea of the little creepy hand coming out. That would be great for a haunted house type of thing. You know, a haunted house, since we don't have like true interactability unless you're using KBT and you happen to be on the plot when someone comes to visit, it's always these little Easter eggs that you got to hunt for, either small references to a particular kind of film or book or recognizable monster or something, or just little things like that. Let me see if I can get a good shot of the house itself. It's really hard because of all the trees. Here they have the Malvarine, I think it's called the taxidermy Malvarine, being used as kind of like stalking outside the house. And our way back. Got the Wishing Well Fab Kit, and they've modified it slightly by adding one of the bubbling cauldrons in to make it look like it's, instead of a wishing well, it's more like a stew pot. Just kind of interesting. I think this is the way we came in. That's the entrance. So over here we have the newer Malvarine. This is the NPC. I think it's, yeah, the black one. A lot of people have been having fun using him as the werewolf. So this is his little cave. And then look at this, all of these steps. Those are just Looks to be obsidian stones just over and over. That's a lot of pieces for these steps. This here is, it looks like, I think it's just the fire, one of the new fires that's giving that extra added little pulsating glow, and then the spiky coffin. Again, so many stairs. So here we have, I don't know, is this maybe the Headless Horseman, Jack Shade, something or other? It's basically that new Vigilant armor, and they've put one of the gourds on the little ball for his head, and then added some, it's like he's shopping, but it's like, I don't know, it's weird that he's got a shopping bag of food. Maybe it's for his little creature buddies. I don't know. Now, I want to say, I don't think these come with the green smoke. I think that's added. Notice even the collars around the doggies, the Girok. It's the fancy bars. I don't think that's the name of it, but we're going to call it the fancy bar. And of course the chains, hanging chains for their leashes. Of course, that's the creepy tower that's overlooking the rest of the plot, which is a great view for not only the little octopus creature type of thing, but just to see all of the trees, how populated they are. Big smoke fire coming up from, I think that's the haunted house fab kit, the graveyard. Took a lot of planning to make all of that space, get it all lined up like they wanted. Most of the tower, I think, is just Draken materials from curved walls and floors, and then Cassian pillars to accent. So in here we have the main living room part. Notice it's the Gothic pillars that are behaving as the framework for the door. Again, look at these stairs. I'm not quite sure what they're using for that. That doesn't look like stones anymore. It could be, it just might look like a straighter part of it. Notice the railing is all of the Gothic fences, and then the curved walls to kind of build it up. It's a lot of pieces. It looks great, but it's a lot of pieces dedicated for that. Notice the trim here. Those are all the skeleton urns. Again, another great viewpoint for like taking screenshots and such. Whenever I come to a plot and I'm wanting to take screenshots, having places that you can get to take good overview shots is very helpful. So you can see that the urns also show up on the inside, and it still looks pretty nice. Aha, I remembered to change it. It's been updated. We're good. Here, I think they've got the red lantern just kind of helping to add to the ambience, the spookiness. Look at this staircase. It's all Cassian pillars. That's a lot of pillars, folks. It's sad that we have to resort to that, to making all of these custom builds, but you know, even if they made us a spiral staircase, I guarantee it wouldn't fit exactly for everybody's use or space allotment, and we would still resort to building these ourselves. But yeah, I think it would be so lovely if a lot of, you know, all of the decor that's considered by Carbine themselves to be building blocks, if those were like freebie decor, that would be awesome. I think that's too much wishful thinking there, but it would be great if they didn't count towards your total decor count. So here is a nice little showcase of all the different kinds of eggs we have available. We have the usual, the purple one, the peach one, the white, but you also have the augmented and the strain version. The little hoogle here is pretty creepy. They're using some of the Arctera bones to give it some bony accents, and of course the eyeballs are pretty nasty looking. Excuse me. So up we go. And then we're at the very tip top of the tower. Again, another great viewpoint. You just have to time it right so that the lightning strike doesn't interfere with your screenshot taking. But here we have the monster carrot being revived by the moody surgeon. Pretty straightforward, just the plushy. I think these are some Eldon antennas. And then, of course, the lightning strike being used. I'm going to have to figure out something to use for mine because I still have no idea. I don't want to do the same thing everyone else is doing. Okay, I think the only thing we have left is the haunted house factory. I don't think I went in there already. Work our way back down. Much easier going down than up. Where is that thing? Yeah, I think they've added the smoke effects here, the green one, and the NPC, of course, has been added. Added the mailbox, but everything else I think is standard, come as is. Yeah, it's pretty dark in here. Not too much, it looks like. They got some pet bowls for somebody. Interesting that they're using the whole pig platter for one of the little dishes. Ah, this must be the pet playing with his WildStar plushie. Well, that is kind of creepy. Little strain pet. Maybe he has a pet Orin that lives inside this little cage thing. And of course, this looks like a miniature of what's outside. That's pretty interesting. Again, it's just the tentacles from the red moon, and you get them from the daily, from the Palavar Point area. Excuse me. Over here you have the pet cheese. Or maybe it lives inside the cheese, I don't know. I like the use of just having the glass, no frame or whatsoever. I would have lined it up a little bit better, but makes it a little bit cleaner. I think it'd be harder to put things inside it so that it doesn't look like it's coming through the glass. Framework kind of helps. Box that in a little bit. Here's another little pet. He's on a chain attached to the wall, trying to get out of his box. He looks a little big. Maybe it's a face hugger of some sort, but again, he's using the skull with the eyes from the frost skulls to kind of really creep it out a little bit. And I have no idea what this is, where that comes from. I thought it was like a oh, what do you call it? One of those NPCs, but it doesn't light up like that. So I honestly don't know. Oh, there it goes. Zombie Eclue, one of those. It's pretty. I guess it's one of those monkey things, isn't it? Ghost monkey. But again, it's got its own little habitat using the little Humera stone cave thing. Guess we can even go inside this one. Maybe this is where the owner sleeps to protect himself from all of these critters that are outside. That's what I suspect. Okay, I think that covers Nooney's place. I hope so anyway. It was a fun place to visit. I think they added several things. I don't remember the octopus monster for sure. I remember the interior, but I didn't see the outside before. So I'm sure that was part of it that they were working on adding. So this is the Unyielding Darkness plot of Nooney Starborn. Again, congratulations on winning 3rd place for the 2016 Jack Shade's House of Haunts competition. So now we're going to go to the 2nd place winner, which is first on EU side. Let me switch over real quick. And I said EU side, I meant Exile side. Okay, we're back on Jabbat's Exile side. We're going to go to Staxon Vitaros's plot. This is the 2nd place winner, Vitaros Valley. Now, from what I understand, most of this on the exterior really isn't Shades Eve specifically, but we're going to go ahead and take a look around anyway. They put in the time to build it. I think a lot of us have a lot of builds that are already pretty full, and we only have a room for, you know, one little space that we can dedicate to a specific use. So it's not a surprise that, I mean, it's kind of like mine. Mine's that winter-based mall, but I went ahead and added a Halloween / Shades Eve room to the plot, so it's understandable. So you can see they've got the, I don't know, I don't remember the exact name of this particular fab kit, but it's like the casino thing. I don't know if they put anything in it, but we'll go ahead and take a look. The only reason I don't really focus on this too much is it's come as is. It's already stocked with this stuff. Same way with the outside. It's pretty much just as it comes. I commend those that work on the fab kits and how they dress them up, but you know, there's really not much to say other than, yeah, it's the fab kit.
Did I get halfway to Nexus and stop? No.
A lot of some of the Arcterra stuff, you can see there's like little bits of glacier pieces, icicles, things. Underground Casino, thank you guys. See, I know I could always count on you guys to kind of clarify that for me. I like the random use of stones for a lot of the landscaping. I see the purple rock arch, but there's also the gray stones. Again, they're using little spikes of either crystals or snow bits to kind of add a little accents to it, so it kind of breaks the monotony of it. I like that a lot. It's even in different directions, so it looks very, I don't know, almost like it's just, some explosions or something kind of made those formations. Now, this here obviously is not done, but to me, like I think one of the viewers said, it looks almost church-like. I think it's because of the shape of the windows, but I thought that was a really clever way of making the windows using the pieces that are at hand. Basically, it's triangles here and here to get that design, and then it's the floor for that part. It's just a really clever way of getting those nice little, I don't know, it almost looks like a, oh, what do you call those things? Not a pillar. I mean, it is, but there's a special word for it. I can't think of it right now, but I like the process that this is going through. And I look forward to seeing how they finish it up. This looks interesting, and all it is the feet of the dividers meeting up, but it's a nice way of just incorporating a doorway there. Oh, well, that's good to know. Yeah, I think in the beginning, the underground casino, it was like you couldn't put anything in there, and now they've changed it so that you can. I think folks are still even fighting to try and be able to manipulate the sound and the lighting, like in the Haunted House Fab Kit. It's permanently set for that gloomy, hazy look, and I think a lot of people would like some more control over that. Granted, I kind of understand why they left it as it is because, it's supposed to be a haunted house. But yeah, that's good to know. Okay, so the main house looks to be cleverly um, expanded. You have like this is the hot springs fab kit that they've added on top of. Just look at how many pieces they use. Those are all 2x4s that they use for the roof there. Almost looks like a boat kind of extension. There's a doorway to get to it from here if you want. And then of course it leads off into the rest of the house. A lot of different pieces. I mean, the floors are basically the Orin tables. It's just the very tip top of it to make this nice little bright floor. Those are the Dominion fence posts, fence there. And they just added in walls to fill up the gaps that they wanted. This is a little unclean, and I'm sure if given the amount of decor and time and everything, they'll probably box that in so it looks a little cleaner. Well, thanks, Faye, to bringing that to our attention. Because I know a lot of people would be appreciative in knowing that they can modify that a little better. I personally, I wish it would have come blank and then you could put in what you want. Kind of like the way they allow us to remove NPCs that are on fab kits and then populate them if we want. I wish you could kind of like turn off certain things, like if it's already furnished, turn that off so that you can furnish it yourself. I think that would be one way to go. Let's see, I'm kind of going around the side here. One thing you'll notice, the fab kits, they used to match the ground that they were placed on. Now they no longer do that. I don't know why they switched it back. I think most people preferred that it actually matched the ground, but with the haunted one, it doesn't seem to bother me too much because that's kind of creepy looking, and it's like maybe because it's haunted, it's kind of deadened everything, but with the hedges and everything, it just looks. Uh, yeah, we'll just look at the main house, I guess. So the main house, there's a lot going on here. You've got Galera stone walls for the base part. You've got granite walls for part of it on like the second floor or first floor, depending on what part of the world you call it. There's pressure dividers, there's oran floors, there's the Dominion fence post, there's the fancy bar. See if I can get a little closer here. Looks like some pillars, Cassian pillars for all of this little part here. And of course the layered glass and the Justice stained glass window for that fancier part up in the arched area. Again, there's the Hot Springs Fab Kit, but you can also get to it from here, I believe. Yeah. They got a lot of doorways, which is fun. You can either come at it from the front. There's several entrances from the side. That's the one we opened earlier. This is the dining room. I like the tree shelf being used as kind of like the tiered food display. So they've got all sorts of fruits lined up on there. Using the Dominion conference tables and multiples to make it look like a really big, grand dining table type of thing. Slow down a little bit. You got the bar space, all pretty standard here, not too much custom building here. So this is another entrance exit that leads to the Shades Eve Fab Kit there. Over here, this is the connector to the Hot Springs Fab Kit. She looks like she's ready for some little dipping there. And then another entrance exit. So there's plenty of doors to get away. So again, it's all interconnected, so you don't have to always go through the same entrance. There's many exits and things, so that's handy. Come up into one of the bedrooms. The bed here is basically just a Dominion bookshelf, and they've put a mattress inside it and then put one of the rugs on top to kind of dress it up as an actual bed. Have a little bit of a balcony view. They're using those reinforced walls as a stairway here, and I think they use it elsewhere as well. This appears to be the kitchen. Pretty standard, just the usual suspects as the cabinetry and such. The only difference is this one here is two of the upside down empty trophy cabinets. It's actually, you would see that part down here. It was right side up, and they've turned it upside down and turned it into a couple cabinets here. So they've added some handles using bottle tops. So that's a little different, you know, for people looking for different kinds of cabinets. That's an interesting combo. The bunker house is there, which we'll go to here. shortly. Up this way. Again, nice open type of home. It's very, the balcony parts here. Now, why they have double doors for this particular room, I'm not sure, but something different. And then another little balcony for exterior view. This again shows you all of the pieces that they've put in, just different types. Bacon, granite, Galeris, there's all sorts of bits. I'm not sure if they tried to make this look like a fan of some sort. I'm not sure what those parts are. Let's see. Go this way, or let's go this way. Again, you can see it's kind of got an incomplete feel. I don't know if it's purposely meant to be kind of left open like that, or they just haven't gotten around to it. You can see there's so many pieces, it would not be surprising to know that they maybe ran out of decor space. So they're using one of the Osun doors for this one, and this leads to an indoor garden, kind of like a little greenhouse. Notice the windows layered to make a nice little pattern. Looks like a little bit underkempt because it's brown grass instead of green, but I like the idea behind it. The railing is the golden arrows, in case you're wondering about that. From here you get a little bit better view of the stained glass window up above. The walkway here is the maintenance platforms. This, I suspect, was going to be a bathroom of some sort because this kind of looks like a tub, but maybe it's meant to be something else. I have no idea. It would be interesting use of that particular item though. So now we're above the hot springs fab kit. Look at all the pieces that they had to use to make this little section here. Lots of, and again, we have to resize, and that means more pieces because we don't have rectangle pieces of these walls, so we have to adjust. The stairway here is, of course, the magnetized containers. This little part up here is mostly, looks like the exile pillars to get that shape. Kind of hard to see from this point, but these windows here, those are the rectangular windows. They've been in game for a while now, but they're kind of on the rare side. So if you get a hold of them, count your blessings. A little spooky because the floor is glass, so you can see right down into the pool beneath you, but here's a better shot of the top. See how they've had to patch in the roof. Another window this way. It looks to me like a very fluid pattern. I think it was like they started with one section and then they just added on. Not that they just kind of willy-nilly built, but I don't think they had a solid plan to the layout of the home. Originally, they've just kind of, well, I know I want to connect this with this, and it just kind of evolved into this collection of spaces, I think is how it feels to me. Again, glass floors. A little bit of even decking pieces for this part here. For those of you that aren't familiar, this is the Merg banner. It's one of those non-collision items. It's very favored to set up a kind of a doorway that you can go through without actually using the door. Okay, let's see. Go everywhere? I think we did. We just have the bunker house and the haunted house fab kit. So let's go to the bunker first. I honestly don't know if there's anything in there. So you end up in the cage. Open that up and you come upon like some lab works or something. It looks like they've got every electronical bit, doodad, all stuffed in here. Strange. It doesn't look complete. It looks like just mostly a storeroom to me of goodies. There's a little pool they have made. Looks like they're using the, oh, what's it called? The blue flares for some of the water. And then this structure here looks to be just an oversized alcove, and then using a waterfall for the water. Interesting use. I don't think I've seen the alcove used in that way before. It looks like the beginnings of a bar, a little relaxation room. This is a really fancy bed here. This is the Dominion shelves. I think they're called Imperium shelves when they're not in your inventory, and then if you crate it, then it becomes Dominion, or it's vice versa. I can't really remember which way it is. But it looks like a Dominion comfortable bed, maybe for part of it. No, it's just a mattress stuck there with the shelves trimming the edges, and then just layers and layers of furs and rugs. Not sure why that would be poking through. I think it's part of this. Can't remember what it's called, but it's got like that little fan part, and then it's got the little honeycomb grid on it. I think that's why that's poking through. You're using it as like a guard between that room and this one. I don't know what combination of items this is. I think that's the not the maintenance, the Technophage platform, the round blue light lounge drinking table. I think that one comes from either crime lords or it's a PvP thing. Not something everybody gets a hold of. It's very easy. And this pole is a sparking wire, like with a protostar platform above. So yeah, should be interesting to see what all this evolves into. So the last thing we'll look at, of course, is the Haunted House Fab Kit. If you're wondering about this, I'm not sure what all this is. I think it's a landing pad of some sort on top of the maintenance platform, and that's what they're using to cover up most of the bunker thingy, the door, the hatch. So inside the Haunted House Fab Kit, they've managed to cram a lot of things into this little room. Now, we've shown in the past some others that have done similar. They've managed to take that small space that the Haunted House Fab Kit has and have made multiple floors with multiple rooms on each floor, and it not look overly packed or crowded, but again, not an easy thing to imagine or to plan out and have it work nicely. Excuse me. So here's like the bar room. I like the little dispenser here. It's basically just a garage themed dresser, but they've inset it into a wall. It kind of looks like, I don't know, get some little clean packets or something, and they got the rug next, the mop there. You've got the bar tended by an apparition selling all their little creepy drinks and candies. This little light here, I think, is the top of one of the signs. I can't remember which one it is, but it's one of those. Notice they put the spooky eyes in one of the coconut monkey drinks to make it look a little extra creepy. It's little touches like that that really help sell the whole thing. I'm not sure what this is specifically. I want to say it's an Osun piece, but which one exactly, I'm not sure. There's a little bit of technophage sticking out too, so maybe it's one of those as well. But again, they've included the spooky eyes, strategically placed, that looks almost like a wolf head, kind of staring out at you. For the bowling alley, they have I think it's the Red Moon pillar to trim each side of the door. Again, if it's too dark, let me know. I'll try and jazz up the lighting a little bit. But here's the bowling alley. The place where the balls are, basically water troughs for the little holder itself, and then it's been underlit by two of the Frosco lanterns end to end, and that's done on each side. So it gives it that nice solid glow. It really calls attention to it. And notice how they didn't have all the eyeballs positioned the same way. They kind of turned and rotated them so it looks kind of random. Even from each other, this is slightly different than the others. I imagine this is supposed to be like the bowling ball cleaners. Stick it in and they get a little washed up. This here, if you're wondering about this creepy thing, it's one of those howling haunted trees. Got that mouth gaping open, and they've just inserted it here into the corner. Lots of different skulls, again, using a lot of those creepy eyes to kind of highlight them a little bit. For the lanes themselves, it looks to be ice rock blocks, the square ones, and then having it outlined with the soul frost piping trim it out. Lots of the grass weeds for extra creepiness. For the pins, those are just the files, not the tall ones, the short ones. For the lighting back here, that's those new Red Moon lights. That's several of those patterns. And then it looks like they've inserted some spotlights to highlight the pins a little better. Looks like they've put a lot of the cattail grasses up there too on the roof to make it look kind of overgrown and dank and yucky. And of course the soul frost panel for the scoreboard. Really fun idea. We've seen bowling alleys before, but not a particularly spooky themed one, so this is pretty original. Just goes to show you might have an idea for a certain thing, but then give it a little special twist and it becomes something different. like here you have the smoke coming out from under the stairs. Again, this is that vigilant armor display that comes with some of the Madame Faye goodies. And they just added a Drake and Skull candle holder, the head part. Looks pretty creepy. Works nicely. Pillars for the doorway, and then you come into the haunted theater. Now, the haunted theater is basically just a lot of it's the round bar stools for the bottoms of the chairs, and then they've added Chua pillows for the armrests and the backs. So I guess technically you should be able to sit in them. They don't light up as usable for me, but might just be a little bit of a goofy error. The screen itself is one of those new diorama platforms. It's the space one. What I would have loved to have seen is if they had, maybe put one of those old-timey saucer alien things or something zapping the earth or something, setting up some kind of a scene rather than just leaving it blank. I think that would have made this even more special if they had come up with a scene that they could have thrown in there. But again, lots of creepy effects. They've got the gloomy, I don't know, Audrey plants, the augmented eggs, lots of different spider webs. They've got the little bit of glow from the holographic bar. Some of the blinky lights as well to add some extra creepiness. I think another thing it feels like it's missing is maybe the projector. I guess that's what this is supposed to be. Well, my best guess. Yeah, I think that's supposed to be there. So scratch that. But I guess this is the caretaker's living space. You've got his television, which again is another one of those space diorama platforms trimmed with technophage trim circuitry kind of things. There's a television, one of the, I don't know the name of it, but it looks like a TV. And it's just kind of inset so that the front little part is showing. So they could have done that with the big one as well. The big poster, that's just the speaker enlarged, and they're using just the picture itself. This little table here, I believe, is the Red Moon, what's it called? I'm going to say generator. It's one of the new pieces, though. It's it just comes as all of this part here. They're just using it as a table. The bed is a technophage door, and they've overlaid a rug, a Chua rug on top of that. And then just tossed in a lot of pillows and plushies. I noticed a lot of people using those gothic lamps. You don't normally see them out much, but I guess Jade's Eve is the time to have it. The table here is actually a circular window. It's again one of those really rare items, and they've got it upside down and using that as a tabletop with the technophage canisters as the legs. It's a very fun, well thought out build. I find it interesting, like the portrait paintings upside down, that kind of stuff. Just little things that look a little weird to me. You gotta wonder, what were they thinking? So that's all inside the little tiny fab kit. There's a lot you can do to it instead of just leaving it open like some of us did, myself included. So that was the second place winner, Staxon Vitaros. So congrats to them on their prizes. So the last plot we'll be visiting is the first place winner, the top prize winner of EU side, and that's Plume Lenar. The plot is called Sweet Dreams, which I guess feels a little misleading because it's kind of creepy inside, but not too bad, I guess. I really love the landscaping here. It's mostly just good use of the Protostar Insta Hills to give a rolling hill kind of feel to it. It looks like they used the Arctera sky to kind of accent that hilliness, and it leads into like a mountainous region. Um, but you can see that the entrance to the plot has basically been encased. I mean, the platform itself isn't really hidden per se, but they've kind of crowded it up a bit to kind of, it's kind of sort of hide it. It blends in nicely, I should say. Mostly just the sandstone rocks, it looks like. It's either gray or sandstone, it's one of the two. And lots of foliage to kind of box it in nicely. You can see they went ahead and covered up the hollow crypt. You can do that safely if you're confident that nobody can actually fall to, from a height that might kill them. I think it's pretty safe to say that that's not possible here. I don't think there's any way to actually get like to the roof or anything. But we'll just kind of take a little roundabout along the outer edges of the plot. One, you get a great view of the house itself, the care that was taken in building even the little outlets here, the top lined with the little fencing parts, the moss hanging off of it. Even though you actually can't get really up close, it pays to finish off the house like that. You can see there's one little Easter egg here with the Malvarine werewolf getting ready to attack the little guy. Or maybe it's the other way around. Most of the house looks to be exile themed, exile floors, triangles, that kind of feel. Yes, you can see that awful little bracketry on the edges, and it doesn't quite go off into the distance like one would probably hope. But I think they did a great job of kind of working out the plot as best as they could. Here, I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to be, whether they're taking a skinny dip into this goo or what. But they have lots of little Draken NPCs out here in the goo. You're wondering about the little wispy effect here. That's the blue, um, buoyant blue crystal. You just sink it down so you can just see the crystal pop up every now and then right here, little tip of it. But if you push it down far enough, you won't see it at all, and you'll just see the little like wispy thing. See, there's the little tip of it again. Here's a view of the back. Again, almost any direction you shoot this from, there's a good framing of all of the mossy trees. Yes, the mossy tree, you can go right through it. There's no, it's not like a green hill kind of thing. But we've seen a few people try to use it in that way, which was kind of interesting and fun. off to the main house. Again, a lot of the mossy overgrowth, but they've also got some of the regular overgrowth interspersed. The colors pop a little different. Lots of spooky green windows. Those were available, I think, not only via the Shades Eve vendor, but I think straight from the housing vendor for a while. I presume all of that is gone now, considering the place is the event is done, I think. Layered glass for a lot of the little design work. Most of this, I think, is either the Gothic fencing or the ornate fencing. I think this is the rusty fence up top. And the Gothic ones out here and along the porch, because it has a different kind of spike arrangement. The pillars have been capped with the frost-forged brazier. It says a Z, so I'm going to say brazier. This part here, that's just an upside down mossy overgrowth. It just gives it a little different effect. I kind of like the use of it that way, especially right here, because it almost looks like it's kind of like it's trying to grow together and cover up the whole wall. Yes, you have to contend with some of it poking in and out as it moves with the wind. That's just something you have to accept. I had trouble with that when I used it for painting. The stairs look to me like metal planks. And then, of course, the two pillars for the porch part. So let's go to, I guess, the grand dining hall. You have the maitre d' here. I guess that's what he's called. That's just a hover part piece for that part. The table itself is the graded floor panel, just upside down. The honeycomb pattern, the yellow part, is on the other side. One thing I do like is the table settings. They're using the rolled up tribal mats as the napkins. I like that little touch. For this table, it's a technophage platform with one of those technophage tube things for the center, and then the ritual candle circle for that. That's the one that's giving it that kind of pulsating glow.
If you die in the name of justice.
This part here is one of the Red Moon pieces. It's the new rotating bar. I would have loved to have seen some more custom kinds of foods and stuff, but I understand, especially with a complex build like this with the house, you may not have the luxury of putting in that much detail on little things like that. I noticed that for those that were having trouble finding some of the regular cobwebs, they went ahead and went with the augmented ones, which came directly from the renowned vendor that are available year-round. It's maybe not ideal, but since Shades Eve has a lot of green accents, it kind of works. So if you were shortchanged on having some of the regular cobwebs available, that was a viable alternative, and that's what they've been using here as a lot of the augmented version.
When justice calls, I recommend you always answer.
Then we have the seance room, I think is what Adium called it. You've got the floating apparitions. Again, the Gothic. I said a couple of weeks ago, I think, that we never see that, and then with this particular theme, everybody's got them out. Guess I should have brought mine out as well. But the table itself looks to be one of the Arctera crossed. I think it's the one with the sword. Yeah, uh, one of the platforms or whatever you call it. They just got it kind of slightly raised so that it's behaving as the table. Don't know what exactly they're using for the crystal ball. I think it's the little planet, the giant gas planet. And then I think either the Macari stool or some other piece is one of those upside down so that the legs are behaving as the holder. And then they added the blue flames and such to kind of really make it pop. And of course, the ghosty effect, all of that smoke and stuff is coming from one of those haunted items, whether it be the top hat one or the angel head or some such. The Jackshade effigy, I think that also has that effect. Then you've got the library. Again, I kind of like how they've boxed in the bar with the books, the bookcases. And some of us prefer to kind of hide these parts by trimming it with 2x4s or some such, but it's not required. Fireplace is a little interesting. They've got it boxed in with glass. They've got the, I don't know if it's the Draken fire pit or what, and then it looks like they got some of the burning tracks in there as well. But I like this little, my character over there, little opening so that you can put more firewood in. They've just raised it a little bit, and they're using a Oran shelf as the handle for that. Again, it's just little touches like that that I focus on. Back here's the kitchen. These are the Barbies that you can get from the summer decor pack. Frozen lake for the water spill. The spout and stuff looks like bottle tops for the handles, and then one of the new, actually those might be the Red Moon Terror sewer caps being used as handles, and then one of the Red Moon Terror sewer pipes for the kitchen sink faucet. Same way with here, this looks like a Red Moon part as well. And then that's just the feeding trough for the sink, using one of the summer blankets and a couple of the rolled version ones for towels.
Looking to fly? I take
Maintenance
cash,
platform
credit,
for the
or
cutting
family
board.
heirlooms.
I like how their kitchen is so organized with the knives and the pans. And I was upset yesterday because they went right past this. With custom work, whether it's, you know, theme related or not, I would have wanted them to pay a little closer attention. This is a little tiered cake. It's just using some Oran fences for like filigree around the sides and then topped with a couple of flowers. It's simple, but you know, they took the time to make it, so give it a little nods off there. I think it's cute. Yes, they're using the standard cupcake as another little thing here, but they actually made that one themselves. And Katie and them just walked right by, and I was like, no, there's like a pretty
Justice
cake there.
calls. I recommend you always
Stairs
exit.
are the Tua pillars. We'll come back to the downstairs room here very shortly. I just want to go ahead and
Looking to
show.
fly? I take cash, credit,
This is one of the
or
new
family heirlooms.
circular doors.
Did I get halfway
Leads
to
to
Nexus and
the
stop?
Mad Lab
So don't
of
you
the
give
Moody
up yet.
Surgeons.
I never trust no
The clamps for him, holding him to the table, are of course the traps. Notice the leg ones aren't really actually holding him in. They're they look open. But the positioning of the chest one looks really good. And again, a good use of the lightning bolt for those that have it and aren't sure what to do with it. The Mad Lab is pretty good. A lot of Ichthian stuff works well for the labs because of all of the watery tubes and canisters, and just even the lighting effects look creepy.
I'm more a lover than a fighter.
Over here is like their little construction site. You can see they've even, this is some of the prizes that they won for this competition. So they've got it on showcase here. They've got the sand diorama pieces, making this little boxed in place, and then they've got all their sandcastle parts. So this is some of the prizes. I presume that these pieces will become available to everyone, probably via the cash shop at some point. But the winners to this competition got a taste of it ahead of time. You can see they're showcasing all the little hats as well for their prizes. Well deserved. Nice to see that they're showing that off. I'm using the welders as repair guys, saying, yeah, we're doing some construction work here. Got the little Malmarine taxidermy going on. Here's the children's bedroom. I like this. The idea behind it, you know, the little, lots of place for your plushies. But especially these little, this little fenced-in area for their pets.
Have you come for an autograph?
You've got this creepy monster coming out of the TV, which is kind of scary. I like the little seat. She dropped her dolly because she was so scared by all the creature coming out. But the seat is just a couple of domes. It looks like a solid dome and then a hollow dome for the back, and then one of the purple pillows for the cushion. The monster crap coming out of the TV, it looks like the Osun Battle Witch lady. They've added some of the glowy eyes and then a set of the creeping hands, the grasping weeds, and of course the green puppy smoke to add to it. Here's another little play scene. It's a combination of the sand diorama and the space diorama, or I guess I should say desert, and they've made this little lot village. So it's like a little toy for the kid. Got the little bow on the carrot head. Oh gosh. So in the main house, I think all that's left is the bunker. This again is one of the new doors. It's the square door. It gives you access to the bunker house, which is basically like an indoor-outdoor kind of area. It's like a swimming pool, so you have this whole place where you can, what's weird is these are like up in the air, so I'm not sure if they're meant to be that way or they moved it for some reason, but it's basically this giant pool, like a little beach area. They got some of the new waterfalls supplying the water, so that it adds to the effect. Using, it looks like waterfalls for most of the water of the pool itself. I forget what this is from. I want to say it's either one of the signs or oh, I don't remember exactly. It looks like spotlights, but it's not that. It's something else. One of the Macari tables or something has that little strange writing on it. That's what that is. And then it's hover part pieces for the trim of the pool, a little bit of decking pieces, and then for the chairs, the lounge chairs, it's staircase landings, 2x4 blocks, and then of course the beach towels.
And feed them only steel.
It's a fun use of the space. Again, so many of us don't know what to put in those areas all the time, and so it's fun. It's not expected when you come in here to find this in particular. Notice they're using again the space diorama for the sky effect. Really oversized, but out of necessity, so you don't see the trim of it. Okay, I think that just leaves the haunted house fab kit. Which, if I remember rightly, it's empty. But we'll go in it anyway. Just to emphasize the winner from last one, again, they had the bowling alley down here and the theater up above. This shows you how much they use that space to their advantage. So yeah, that's it. I think mostly this one won just because the screenshots really played off on the house to its best advantage. You know, while I accept that that's the criteria Carbine used, I really wish they would have actually come and taken a look at all of the entries in person and based their decision on that, the actual visit to see all of the detail before they made a decision based purely on pictures, because uh, I don't know, sometimes pictures only do so much justice to a plot. There's so many that I know that have built, you know, it's not that I'm saying that those that won didn't deserve to win. I'm just saying I think I would prefer a different way of them selecting the winners, per se. I don't want it to be based purely on just a snapshot. I think it should be more about what's put into it. Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe you guys don't agree. But that's my personal view. I would prefer to actually go and take a look at the place and see how much they've gone into it. I think a lot of those that entered probably would have been served a little better um, how they put things and use them, even if they didn't get the best screenshots out of it. Of course, like I said, you know, that's the way they've chosen to do it. I think they've done that for all of their housing competitions so far. So really put that in mind when you're planning your builds. If you're thinking that they might be used for a competition, think about the framing, how you're going to screenshot it. You know, you might have lots of awesome little details, but if they're spread out, it's hard to get them all into one shot. So think about that when it comes to future competitions. You know, really focus on having at least one good shot that will show off an overall kind of look. Again, that kind of plays into the parts where maybe your house is awesome looking, but you have to see it at a certain distance and far away. Maybe there's some details that disappear. Be mindful of that too. So yeah, congrats to Plume on their win, first place for the competition. Congrats to all the winners, of course, and a big thank you to everyone that participated. You know, I think as long as there's interest and enough participation in these kinds of competitions, that will encourage Carbine to continue with them, even if they don't do them as regularly as we would like. It's always nice to see that they at least continue on with it in part. I think if people just kind of quit participating and just didn't show any interest, it would deter them from holding these type of competitions. And I'm really happy that so many turned up for it. So probably shame on me for not trying to build something, but again, I knew mine was kind of breaching the rule of trademark and copyright, so I couldn't have actually submitted mine in good conscience. But I'm happy that there was enough people that put out some really lovely bits. Again, I wish I had known others that might have participated that we didn't get to tour last week. But it just happens that they didn't provide a list of everyone that submitted their homes for consideration, so I can't really if I happen across them while randomly touring, I may include them in later tours, but I definitely wanted to give an extra close-up look to those that actually did win. Just, again, to give them a nod and to show the parts that I felt like was kind of just brushed over during the stream yesterday. But thank you again to Carbine for the competitions. I hope they keep them coming. Thank you again to those builders that have shared their works with us. I know a lot of folks are a little leery of doing that because they don't want others to copy what they've done, but I appreciate those that take that leap and allow us to check out their plots up close. And because it really does, it inspires us to do better in our future builds. And while we might not take your ideas item for item, it may spur some fresh ideas for our own builds, depending on what it is. But yeah, I appreciate that. So thank you to the builders, thank you to Carbine, and thank you guys for joining me for this special house tours episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Um, look forward to doing some more. Hopefully we have some more competition coming up for Winterfest. You got a little bit of time to work on those if you're thinking about possibly entering. Again, stay clear of anything that might have to do with trademarks or copyrights. Keep in mind about how you might want to screenshot the places, and of course, just be as creative as possible. Go with your own ideas. Don't base it on anything in particular. If you can keep from it, that I think will help a lot in getting something worthwhile that you can be proud of and not feel like you've cheated in some way. But yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. Tomorrow we'll probably be back talking about this month's CBDC, which is museum masterpieces. We're looking for sculptures and paintings. I'm working in conjunction with Green Ghost and their Millennium City Museum build. They're looking for contributions from builders all over to add to their museum, and they're going to be presenting it so that everybody knows who made what. They're going to put the names next to each piece. So, and they're willing to take 5 participants of this month's CBDC into their museum. So yeah, you can check out the full description and all of the details about that in the forum. It's in the housing sub-forum of the official forums. It's, I got it CBDC November museum masterpieces. The one rule that's steadfast for this month's CBDC is it must be 50 items or less. That includes, if you have a painting, that includes the framework. If you have a sculpture and you've got it on a pedestal of some sort, it includes the pedestal. So 50 items or less, whatever it is you make. Other than that, it's pretty much anything goes. So we'll be working on some more of that probably tomorrow and Friday. So be sure and to drop by if you're interested in hearing more. We're going to be doing a lot of brainstorming on frame ideas, pedestal ideas, just to help, get your guys' ideas flowing. Maybe you're kind of stumped on what you want to use, and something I suggest maybe that will work for your particular situation. So be sure and drop by if you want some tips on that. And then, you can free to watch me struggle. I'm trying to make my own entries, but in the meantime, again, congrats to the winners. Thank you guys for joining. Appreciate the follows, the tweets, the retweets, the support, the conversation in chat, of course. And I hope you guys have a great week. If I don't see you before then, see you later. Bye-bye.